You've got a very bright phone, my friend. Because it's the most well-lit a Midnight Review has ever been.
I like how you asked me if mine has a flashlight. We have the exact same kind of phone.
Yeah, but I never use the flashlight on my phone because my battery is usually almost dead.
Heads up, it's super fucking bright.
It turns out it's super bright.
Glowing like a fucking angel.
We went and saw the Free State of Jones County. Free State of Jonestown. We went and saw Jonestown, USA.
It's a much different movie.
The ending was to be expected.
I wanted to take a second real quick before we get started on things.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm back. Been off the site here for a little while. We had, I know Brad's mentioned it. Some of you know, we had an unexpected death in the family. Letty's dad passed away here a few weeks back, and I just wanted to say a thank you to everybody who's said something so far, kept us in your thoughts, just anything like that. I just wanted to mention we kind of, because nothing was really planned like these ever are, we set up a GoFundMe that you can find on Brad's stuff. If you look over on my Facebook page, it's linked there too, for trying to help with the funeral costs that we kind of had to suddenly take on. So if anybody, if you've donated, thank you so fucking much. If you haven't, or you're not even in a position where you can, at least the link, it's on my page, it's on Letty's page, it's on Brad's. Just share it with somebody, anybody. Anything helps. We have one going for that, and then Letty's brother-in-law, my brother-in-law, James, he also actually just here a couple days ago got in a very, very, very bad motorcycle accident. He's out in Colorado. He's on the mend, hopefully, but yeah, he had some pretty extensive injuries, and so you'll see on my page too, there's also a link for GoFundMe to help out him and Letty's sister Liz and their boys, to try to just help with the costs. They had to do a lot of sudden surgery. He's been in ICU for most of the week, and just it's any amount at all helps, and thank you so much, seriously, fucking seriously, for everybody who has so far. Yeah, you can find find me on Facebook. I'm easy to find. If you can help, thank you.
I tweeted it.
She tweeted it. It's out there in the social network. Starring Lex Luthor.
Yes. I was starring Mark Wahlberg. It's no, that's Mark Zuckerberg. No, he didn't play himself. Starring Mike Zuckerberg.
All right, so that's my piece. But no, thank you. Thank you.
Help if you can.
Something that you should, in my opinion, probably not give your money to, would be the Free State of Jones.
See, I'm not understanding all the ichor, or the bile. Because Brad texted me. He was telling me, because when he first invited me,
did he text you a thesaurus? I don't understand all the vitriol people are venting on this movie.
So much goddamn vitriol. Is venting their spleen on this particular movie. When Brad texted me, it was getting 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, and now it's up to a whopping 31%. And this movie was a historical drama, but I don't think it was 31% boring. I found it fairly compelling.
I found it to be pretty much exactly 30%.
Stop playing with my keys.
I guess 30% unboring. It was 70% boring.
Uh-huh.
It was fucking 12 years of McConaughey.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what the exact right word. Definitely not fun. I'm not trying to say that slavery is
Right, you're starting already. I was like, I'm going to go into this video and I'm not going to make fun of him for owning slaves or his slavery past or any of the slavery because we're seeing a movie about slaves and it's just going to be like wiffle ball.
Oh,
and then you're like, well, slavery is hilarious and fun.
no.
I'd like to open with that.
Taking this out of context.
You said slavery is fun.
No, I said I don't want to say.
Okay, no. Wink.
I can't believe I missed this.
You missed us.
But no, it's the energy and the like grabs your attention and just holds it feel that like 12 Years a Slave had.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was such a powerful and such a magnetic film. Like you just I don't know if you've actually gotten around to watching it.
Nope.
It's a fantastic movie. It seriously like Irving and I like that was the one that like we came out and was like we can't even crack jokes. Like there's no jokes. This is a straight review of this film. Like
mm-hmm.
like because it fucking earned it. It fucking deserved everything it got. Honestly, it deserved more. I still think that Ejiofor got kind of robbed by not getting the Best Actor Oscar that year.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think, oddly enough, he lost to McConaughey for Dallas Buyers Club, I think. But at any rate, that movie had like this pull to it, this amazing like reverence. Like I felt bad like looking away or like blinking even during that film. And this one here, I just couldn't give a crap about because they did a lot of the exact same things,
mm-hmm.
but it all felt kind of empty. It's like there are times when he's just sitting on a log for like a sustained like 2-minute shot. Nothing's fucking happening.
Look, it was boring back then. They didn't have TV.
Well, I mean, it's just not even anything. It's just like him just sitting there, like looking around. It's like it didn't. I feel like somebody thought like this is gonna be like an impactful shot. Like this will be interesting. It'll add like something to the film. And honestly, all it added was 2 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Like I felt like with and again like 12 Years a Slave I think is like the best like comparative movie I can come up with to.
Probably true, just problematic for me because I've never seen 12 Years a Slave.
But it's a lot of similar things like long shots where there's like just kind of southern like sad like fiddle music playing and stuff like that. Like a lot of similar shots of like looking at just like the trees swaying in the wind and like just like a long shot of like nothing happening down like a dirt road and stuff like that. Like things there are in this film, but because the other parts don't have the same weight, it just feels like filler, as opposed to like they're trying to set up some sort of like meaningful like transition or anything like that. It's like yep, and now B-roll.
I felt like they were trying to set up the feel of the era and the region, where it's just, long bouts of monotony interspersed with terrible things happening. That's also true.
There was one thing, though, with this film that I found wildly obnoxious.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
When it was suddenly the 1950s.
Yeah, that was kind of fucking out of nowhere.
Sporadically.
This movie was trying to go with like a thing where it would be telling a story of Newt Knight,
which the first like what would you say, like probably 30-40 minutes solid.
The one thing I will agree with you is that time did seem to lose all meaning when I was watching this movie. So it could have been like the first 2 hours.
Well, and time lost all meaning with the movie too. We'll get to the time jump here in a second. But several times in the film, like with Captain America: Civil War, like how it had like the giant full screen like title cards to let you know like you're in fucking Vienna. like it's goddamn Insidious.
Uh-huh.
Like, it would do those, but there seemed to be very little gauging as far as how that would happen. Like, sometimes it was just the year, full screen, black and white title card. And then sometimes it was like the year and the month, and it was full screen, but it was overlaid over the action.
Like,
then at one point, like, it jumped several months. Like, obviously a shitload had happened because they went from having like 30 guys to having 200 armed men fighting in the street.
Like explaining the Ken Burns caption.
And then it just had, like, at the bottom of the screen, like, it was the fucking beginning of the X-Files. Like, oh, by the way, it's 2 months later. Like, what? Those seem like a very important 2 months. Like, a lot happened there. What we saw before that was them having a fucking picnic in the goddamn woods to show that they could.
They explained that because the war was going, the tides was turning, the increase in, deserters. And so then he got the 2 deserter friends, and they went over, and it's like, oh, there's a bunch more, because there's a bunch more deserters.
But apparently deserters multiply at the same rate as, like, cells. Like, he's like, oh, I got, like, 2 more guys from town. Oh, we found 8 more guys in town. Oh, apparently we have 200 men armed to the fucking teeth now, and they're wheeling out a goddamn cannon.
I will say, apparently it was super easy to desert the Confederate Army, because you could just load up a mule and fucking leave.
He left in, like, broad daylight with a bunch of people standing around. Like, he's saying goodbye to, like, some of them. Like, other ones are just sitting there like, I don't know, fucking hardtack. This shit sucks.
That in mind, it would explain.
It's like, you're like stealing a mule too. Like, he's like, yep.
50
and
of them just
walks away.
Got up and left.
Apparently, like, they were not taking head counts or anything.
Yep.
It's like, what's that over there? Corn. Walk off. I'm like, goodbye.
Some lady behind me was very concerned with the historical inaccuracies of this movie.
That wouldn't have been corn. If anything, they were stealing okra. I don't know. What was she bitching about? I couldn't hear.
I kept hearing her bitching under her breath, and then, like, towards the end when they're getting to where the black people are allowed to vote, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna vote Republican, and I hear really loudly, well, they got that part right at least.
Yeah!
Yeah!
That's the one. That's the ticket.
Because
presidential ballot ticket.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, like, there's very little frame of reference, and also the fact that as it keeps going, like, they keep putting more and more white to the bottom of McConaughey's scraggly beard.
He dipped his cute little scruffy Scotty dog beard into, like, a bucket of paint.
But no one else has anything done to them at all to show that time has progressed.
Nope.
So at a point, it's probably like what did it say the span of this movie was? Like 15 years?
Well, he
from tip to tip?
No, it was less than that, because he deserted in 63, and then in 64 was when they took Jones. And then in 65 was when the Emancipation Proclamation when the South straight up lost and they signed the freed all the slaves.
Gettysburg Address?
No, that was the speech. No. We're so good at history. This is the thing that said, like, all slaves are free. I, Lincoln, declare it. And then
I thought that was the Emancipation Proclamation.
I thought that he made that proclamation at the beginning of the war.
Oh, right, no, that's true.
But, so then, towards the end is when the slaves were allowed to vote, and then poor Moses died.
But like, I thought they
but
put
I don't
up,
think
like,
that was over the span of 15 years.
No, I thought they put up a thing at the beginning saying, like, the events of the movie took place during the course of, like, 1862 to 1870 something.
That baby was still a baby in the beginning, though. Or at the end.
Which baby?
The baby. The Concernicus baby. The 1950s baby. Because we keep skipping over this part, but they kept, like, flash forwarding to the 1950s where this guy was trying to marry a white woman, and it turned out that he was 1/8 black. And so it was setting it up as, like, this big mystery as to whether his great-great-grandma was white or black, being Newt Knight's first wife, Sabrina, or his second wife, Rachel. It started with an S. Rachel being a black woman, and Sabrina being a white woman. And so every once in a while, they just, like, cut to the 1950s, like, it's still a mystery, who does he have a baby with? And he ends up having a baby with a black lady.
But yeah, it's so fucking jarring the first time it happens, because the movie is just progressing as expected, you know, like, we're there, he deserts the army, he goes back home, you know, shit's going wrong at home, like, you know, stuff is happening. And then, after, like, a particular scene ends, where like, he meets Rachel for the first time, like, she gets, like, a pass from the plantation she works on to go to their farm, because, like, there's no doctors in the town anymore, so she goes there and tries to help out, because she's, like, a healer, midwife type thing.
Like, they said that she was Creole, which I guess gives you super healing powers.
And as she's leaving, it fades to black to end the scene, and then in the corner it just says 85 years later. I'm like, what the fuck?
That part was strange to me, because it said 85 years later, but kept watching her walk across the field. Like, we were supposed to get the impression that it took her 85 years to walk home.
She is fucking slow. I don't know how the fuck she got there. Like, but come here and look at our boy, gets there. I'm an old man now. Well, you're fine. And then leaves. Just walks off into the fields like fucking Field of Dreams.
Well, you're fine.
Also, totally jarring thing that immediately took me out of the gravity of this film.
You were so much more annoyed with this movie than I was, which is good, because I got shit to talk about. What else is annoying?
Well, he deserts the army and he goes back to whatever fucking town it was. Mm-hmm. Nobody gave a shit about the town, just the fact that it was Jones County.
Yes. Although eventually they do move to a town called Soso, which I googled later because I was like, that can't possibly be an actual place. Mm-hmm. It's an actual place. Anyway.
And I think I was reading something like one of the extras in the film, like the little group of guys there, I think, is actually from like that town, and actually really? Is like a descendant of one of the guys who like did all that. Uh-huh. I think actually one of like Newt Knight's like great grandson is actually in the movie too. Uh-huh. Like he heard that they were doing a movie about it, so he's like, I would like to be in this somewhere. Like, yeah, sure. Of course you can. The fuck were we talking about?
We were talking about a thing that annoyed you. And they were in Jones County.
Right. He goes back to his hometown, back to his farm. There's some bullshit going on with some other farms, so he meets with a bunch of women in a barn to talk about what's all going on.
So basically, all these women have their homesteads, and all the men have been drafted, either voluntarily or involuntarily. And so in the meantime, the Confederate Army, like the tax people, are coming by their farms and just stealing everything, like to the extent that they won't be able to survive the winter. So Newt, having deserted, calls a little like women town meeting and gives them all like a horn to blow, so that if the tax collector comes back, they can blow the horn. Newt can run over there and shoot some guys in the face.
But what's wildly distracting and immediately took me out of it is the fact that the woman he's talking to through most of this dialogue and bitching about and gives the little like woo like Ewok horn to is the waitress from It's Always Sunny.
You found that annoying? She's allowed to be stuff other than the waitress.
No, but it was just wildly distracting. Also, the fact that she wasn't trying to do an accent at all.
Was it distracting you that the main guy was actually Matthew McConaughey?
Absolutely. But that was just because he kept staring off and doing weird shit, like pointing things, like nodding or weird, like, stop that. You fucking look like a creeper.
You knew how good he looked in period garb, and so he was kind of like getting his hips into it.
And he's like, in your children's children. Like, stop. You don't get to talk like that.
You do, because you're McConaughey.
It's like, is that what you like about the children's children? They're always the same age?
Flip.
But, no, it just immediately took me out of it, because it was like this very, like they were trying at that point still to, like, be a very thought-provoking period piece, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, they showed up at my farm and took all my stuff. I'm like, Okay.
She didn't talk. She wasn't talking like that. She was doing a good job. She's allowed to fuck, not be the waitress.
It's like one tiny little bug, just in case if you're wondering why she's flipping this shit
Oh,
out.
if you're wondering why we're doing this with the windows closed, it's because there's a spider on the windshield and Brian doesn't want it getting in.
To be fair, it's like...
It was not
legs were
that
like
big. It was like this big, and he was super scared of everything that was going on.
Okay, then go back out there.
Fine, I will. Oh my god, it's so much nicer outside. So what else about Jonestown?
It's fucking boring as shit, is what it was.
I don't think it was that boring. It was an interesting story. Apparently it's based on a true story. I don't know how factually accurate it is, as evidenced by our Emancipation Proclamation debate. But,
well, I know I read a thing earlier today about it, that, I guess there was a guy who wrote a book about, like, the fabled story of Jones County or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And, like, I guess that guy was very against this film, saying that all of the events of it were hyped up to, like, the nth degree.
Uh-huh.
But apparently the guy who wrote that book is also, like, the descendant of, like, that colonel he choked to death, so I kind of have a feeling he might be a little slanted on...
Why did he write the book, then? You think he wrote the book like nothing ever happened to my ancestors? They were chill dudes.
I think it sounds like
My
the...
great colonel.
And I haven't read this book, so I don't know, but it sounds like maybe his book might be a little bit more slanted, like, and they were just down there minding their own business, and then here comes this guy just killing people. Like, what the fuck? They're like, it's like, we should arrest him and give him due process, and he's like, fuck y'all, Jones County forever, and shot him in the face.
He burned all my cotton,
Like,
which I
what
needed
a son
for
of a
stuff.
bitch. Slowed down industry. I mean, really, he did more harm than... Like, I don't know if the book is written from that point of view, but it sounds like he definitely tried to downplay, like, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Like, the plantation
like,
stimulated the economy.
everybody down there, like, didn't even give a shit. They're like, who? Like, you go down there, they'd be like, you know, Newt Knight, and they're like, I don't know.
Hoot night?
Yes.
That's what they'd say. En masse. You'd ask a crowd of people and they'll just hoot.
Yep.
That's my contribution to this review. I think I'm going to go ahead and retire in disgrace.
But, yeah, no, I found it to be, like, kind of boring. Like I said, like, a lot of the time, like, nothing... Like, there's no sense of urgency. Like, honestly, about the only time, like I felt that the movie had any energy to it at all. Even during, like, the fighting. Like, it always was very plotting, except for, like, when it did, like, that montage of them just, like, taking that town.
The thing is, I think that it all had a sense... I don't think that a sense of urgency would have improved it, just because I feel like a lot of what was going on had this sort of inevitability to it, you know? Like, they took this town of Jones, and you're like, okay, great, but you're still fucking in the middle of the bottom of Mississippi. Or, like, when they're like, yeah, we have the right to vote now, and it's like, oh, no.
It's like, you guys can vote, but it's in the middle of town hall where all of the union douchebags are back sitting in.
They haven't even, like, invented the whole, like,
Confederate
intelligence
douchebags.
test yet. They're like, yeah, you know, 40 acres and a mule, he promised. And you're like, no, I know how this ends. So, like, you could add a sense of urgency to that, but we know where it's going. And I think the sort of, like, blanket of slow fate was added to by the sort of plotting.
Well, and there's a lot
of it.
There's a lot of scenes too that, while there is, you know, emotional weight to them, there's nothing really of substance.
Oh, I disagree.
Well, like the scene that could have happened historically. I don't know if anyone ever wrote this down ever, but when like, I don't know, like, I don't know if they were in that hotel or if they were in that plantation house that
They were in the plantation house because she'd never actually like been in one of the rooms in the context of I could sleep here if I fucking wanted to. And I think they banged in that room because then she ended up pregnant. But she walked up to the bed and kind of laid hands on it, and she goes, "Oh, it's feathers," and just started crying. And you got the impression like, oh, okay, she's seen this bed like every goddamn day for her entire life, and she never knew what it felt like because she wasn't allowed to touch it.
But I just...
You didn't care.
Well, it's just... The scene goes nowhere. Like I say, like, they tried to set up some emotional weight behind it, but as an actual scene, though, it did absolutely nothing. Like, if that whole scene had just been like snip snip, it would have changed the movie not one single fucking whit.
I think you're allowed to have a scene like that where you just like developing characters.
Well, but there were so many scenes like that, and honestly, like, she'd already been fairly well established, and like I'm not saying that, like, characters like, it's like, here's the person, they learned a thing, they're good, drop them.
This is this lady. She wants to learn how to read, and she gets raped a bunch.
Then she learns how to read and stops getting raped. I mean, she gets scourged for it.
There's a whole bunch going on in that scene. You know, there's the whole, like, oh, okay, you know, she's never been allowed to touch this bed. She finally knows what it feels like. There's the whole, like, he invites her in and, like, does kind of, like, ushers her in a gentlemanly way in what was probably meant to be kind of a romantic gesture, but then you get into the room and you realize, oh, it's terrifying, because they're not safe in there. They don't feel like they belong there. It's the house that they stole from some jackass that tried to rape her a bunch of times. Did rape her a bunch of times.
Which, I don't know why they didn't burn that place to the fucking dirt.
I feel like you would have, because it's not like they stayed there for any length of time.
Especially once they found out that
he was coming back.
That he was going to be able to just go back, like, say, like, yeah, I won't own slaves anymore. And then get his house back. They're like, I would have there that night and be like, oops, I dropped this oil lamp. What are you going to do? Because you built your whole house out of wood, because that's all we got.
Django.
It's like, honestly, yeah, like, there were so many scenes where, like, I feel like that much better movie was happening, like, a county over.
These poor, boring people living their normal, historically, generally accurate lives. Meanwhile, Django gets to be Django right over here.
You know, you gotta figure, like, Moses is like Django if they took all of the everything out of his character.
And they had actually cut Django's penis off. So there's a character named Moses. I don't know how you're saying that this movie has no emotionally impactful moments, because I cried. There's a character named Moses that he ran into at the beginning. When he first... Because Matthew McConaughey's character, you know, deserts the army, and then he helps these women protect their farms, but then that means that the Confederate army's after him. And so he ends up getting to go out into the swamp and hang out with the runaway slaves, because they kind of accept them in because he was nice to What's-Her-Face. And one of those guys is named Moses, who he comes across with something I need to Google, but I don't know what the fuck I'd Google it as. He had this, like, collar on that had, like, spikes coming up, and I feel like it's probably a thing that actually happened, but I don't know what it's called, so I can't Google it and see what the purpose was. Other than
I know I've seen, like, things like that, or, like, other, like, shapes with the points and everything in different like period movies about that, you know, that time in the South. But
I feel like the reality of whatever that device was used for is probably a nightmare. But again, what are you gonna Google? Like slavery face cage? Anyway,
well, that might give you
something else. Put the safe search on. So this is how he met Moses, and him and Moses kind of make this journey together. You know, freeing Jones and trying to set up this country, and then realizing that it's just straight up not going to work in the world that they're living in, and then trying to make it work in the world that they are living in. And so they set up this union to get all the black people together and kind of organize them, get them ready to vote. So because they've never like done paperwork on this sort of things before. So Moses gets like this book together, and meanwhile his wife and his kid have come back from Texas because they got sold to Texas years and years ago. I don't know how they found him, but hooray!
Running across an open field in broad daylight.
They've just been running. Moses! So anyway, he has this big book, like he's taking a census of these people and like writing down their names, writing down what their parents' names were, figuring out what their age probably is. And then he's walking and he hears like, boy, behind him. And again, this feeling of this sort of crushing inevitability where he's just running away from this group of people, but there's nowhere for him to run to. And then McConaughey finds him hanging from a tree with his pants down and blood running down his legs. And it's heartbreaking, because like you fell in love with the character. And you knew that something bad was probably going to happen to him because he was a black guy in the 1860s.
Yeah, but honestly, like, not all of the South, but a lot of the South is still pretty fucked up. That
Hashtag not all South.
Let's be fucking fair. I mean, there's still people down there fighting for the whole Confederate flag to stay on, like, government buildings. Like, there's still some issues to work out down there.
I'm not saying that there isn't. I'm just saying, thank goodness they're not allowed to just de-manhood a person and hang them with impunity.
But then, like, I was surprised by the fact that the Civil War ends, like, halfway through this fucking movie.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, it's just, like, random scenes of, like, them trying to do a thing, and then the Klan shows up, and then they try to do another thing, and then the Klan shows up. Because
the South is still so fucked up.
Well, no, but it's... like, the movie takes, like, this very different turn after the war is over, because, like, during the war, like, these guys are, like, they're fucking running this place. Mm-hmm. Like, they just walk into a town and be like, it's like, you're with us, or you can get the fuck out of here. And they take back, like, several counties, like, they're running this shit, and then the war's over, and then all the Confederates come back, and then they're back to just being, like, fucking outcasts, except everybody knows their name now. And then, like, everything after that is just, like, a fucking shit show of bad luck on these guys, where it's like, we can vote, and then they burn down their church.
It's not bad luck. It's...
Well, I know it's not, like... No, I just...
Goddamn white man.
But it's... Like, after, like, inspiring so much hope, like, in the first half of the film, that, like, they're really fucking kicking the shit out of this thing. And then it's like, by the way, like, the war is over, back to business as usual, and all of their lives go back to being absolute horseshit.
Yeah, because that was one of the running themes in the movie, is that, you know, they're free men,
life
but they're not...
will eventually suck until you die.
They're not free men anymore,
murdered.
because it, like McConaughey mentioned in his famous speech in the middle of the movie, at some point in your life, you're always going to be someone else's N-word.
I don't remember that being how he said it.
No, it's not how he said it, but you know what? I'm a white woman, and I'm not allowed to say that word. These are the things that I've imposed upon myself.
Well, I've learned from comedians that it's okay to say it as long as you say it with a weird voice.
I don't care. I don't say it when I'm singing along to Kanye.
That must be problematic.
I just go like this. For that word. I let Kanye sing it because he's loud. I've lost my train of thought. I don't know how we got off on this. Anyway, I think this is a fairly good movie. Brian's apparently mad that it didn't have a feel-good ending. But I think that for me, the ending sort of reminded me of the end of Zardoz, where, like, they, like, fought this whole war and got to a position where he could, like, be a free man, and then him and his Zardoz wife just go into a cave, have a child, and slowly die of old age. Yes,
the end of this movie was exactly like Zardoz. I don't know why I didn't pick that one up.
I mean, the subtext was right there. But it's so true. And you know what? I like Zardoz, so let's go with
that. Wow, that's a fucking comparison I wasn't expecting.
I win this review.
I don't know.
That's my final thought.
It's debatable.
My final thought is exactly like Zardoz. So what's your final thought?
Watch 12 Years a Slave and then go back and watch Zardoz. Don't watch this movie.
You can watch this movie.
No.
It's fine.
No, it's not.
Watch it while you're doing your nails, because there are some parts where you can be like, oh god, what time is it? But it's like genuine. I enjoyed it.
You even admit this.
I feel that way about most movies, though. Like, if there's maybe 5 movies in my lifetime that I've been completely engaged with from the opening credits to the end credits.
Are at least 3 of them Muppet movies?
2 of them are Muppet movies, yes. Why do you ask?
No reason.
Great Muppet Caper has Charles Grodin in it as like a jewel thief, and there's a part where he steals his sister's diamond necklace, and the way that he like pretends that it wasn't him is he gets all upset that in the dark he spilled ketchup all over his cummerbund. And also I learned from Fozzie Bear in that movie that if you put enough sugar in champagne it tastes just like ginger ale. That's the difference between a restaurant and a supper club. A dinner club? A dinner club. Should we do reviews?
Yeah, what you got there?
Hell or High Water. I don't remember a thing about that one.
That one I actually think looks like it could be, it potentially could be really good. That was the one, those 2 brothers like robbing banks.
Yeah!
Like, it honestly, it kind of had, like... Kind of like if you merged together, like... No Country for Old Men and...
Zardoz.
Place Beyond the Pines.
Okay.
Because Ryan Gosling is robbing banks to support his family. But in the more of a setting and feel of, like... No Country for Old Men.
I feel like this is trying to go for like a sort of Occupy Wall Street sort of thing, because they're like, yeah, steal from the bank, because it steals from us so goddamn much.
But I wasn't really sure, like, I mean, the trailer didn't make it exactly clear what they were stealing it for?
Like
they were taking...
The detective had the theory that they were saving up for something.
Yeah, I don't know, but it looked really compelling. Chris Pine with a sweet mustache.
God help them if the movie doesn't have a feel-good ending, though, because Brian will come down on it like the hammer of justice. Jason Bourne.
It's a Jason Bourne movie. I don't know. I'll watch it.
I feel like it's the same vein of like when they named the sequel Rocky Balboa. You know, where like we did like Bourne Identity and then Bourne Supremacy and then Bourne Ultimatum and now it's Jason Bourne. And then it's gonna be like Jason Bourne's son having adventures. Magnificent Seven. It's so hot. Well, let's just go ahead and crack both them windows and talk about the Magnificent Seven, because that movie I am genuinely excited for, which is a bummer because I probably won't be sent to it.
Yeah, it looks like a fun remake of Seven Magnificent Gladiators. Mm-hmm. The Bruno Mattei film. No, it looks like a fun take on it. I still, though, am confused why, looking at it, and maybe there's something to it, I don't know, but the way they have Denzel looking in that, he looks exactly like how they had Fred Williamson look in his classic film Boss Nigger. Uh-huh. I'm sorry, Boss N-word. It's the title of the film.
All the loopholes you need, Brian. All the loopholes you need to let you sleep at night.
But no, like I did like a side-by-side of it I put up on Instagram the other day after I saw the trailer for Magnificent. I'm like, I've seen that exact character before. It's fucking like exact. Like,
is it like maybe they were doing it on purpose, like a homage?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's a very specific thing to like be like, yeah, and make him look like Fred Williamson. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. It's like
make him look like that character he played in that one movie.
But
you know the one I mean.
But no, like it was just, I don't know. It's a very specific thing for him to be like suddenly dressed as. Uh-huh. But no, it looks fun. Yeah, it's about my only thoughts on it so far.
Birth of a Nation.
Looks like a really weird remake.
I've never seen the original.
It's about the Klan.
Yeah, no, I've heard it's super racist and of its time, and the only reason it's still, like, even remotely still in the public consciousness is, first of all, because of the super racistness of it, but also because it kind of invented modern movie making.
Pretty much.
But I don't know, plot-wise, whether it has anything to do with this one. And they might have just used the title.
No, yeah, I think they're just taking back the title, turning it into something good, which good idea, honestly. But yeah, no, it seems like I'm not sure if it's based off of like an actual story or what, but I noticed a lot of very similar themes in that one that there were in this film. But no, it looks good. I'm sure I will probably be sent to it.
Most likely. The Accountant. That looks really good. It's Ben Affleck is like an autistic accountant guy who's also like fighting crime.
Ben Affleck is like an autistic assassin who is also like a CEO of an accounting firm.
Yeah, and his name is like Hawk.
Wolf.
Like
Christopher Wolf.
He's making his eggs
the real.
He didn't want his breakfast touching.
Yes. Because he's
I don't approve,
accountant.
But that's okay.
But no, it looks interesting. It looked like Anna Kendrick's in it, which I'm not super jazzed with. I don't
like Anna Kendrick?
I just don't like Anna Kendrick.
I find her a delight.
I find her kind of obnoxious, and the fact that she doesn't have lips is weird. She's like a straight line little slit. Like they're like, fuck, we forgot to put a mouth on her. And they put one. And then it's just obnoxious sound that comes out. Which really, it really bums me out because that new one with...
I can't argue with you because that's the exact reason I hate Tobey Maguire, but I think that Anna Kendrick's allowed to not have any lips. She's charming and hilarious enough that it...
I still hate though that new movie she has coming up. I forget the name.
Her and Justin Timberlake.
Like Dave and Mike need wedding dates or something like that.
Her and what's her face?
Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah.
Because that one looks really good. If it was just anyone else but her.
But she's so funny.
I don't see it.
You're wrong. Objectively wrong about this.
Oh, I'll be wrong about it. What else?
Loving.
That one...
I started writing these on my arm so I'd be able to remember what the fuck previews I watched. And
that was the one with Joel Edgerton and what the fuck's her name?
Oh yeah, he's married to a black lady.
Fuck, I know her name. Ruth Negga or something like that. She was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's on Preacher now. No, she's a fantastic actress. I think she's really good.
Joel Edgerton is the one I always get confused with, the guy who played Claude Bukowski in the musical Hair, even though they're like 40 years apart.
But I can see it.
Yeah, like that guy. It looks good, but again, it looks like the sort of movie that you're going to end up going to see.
It looks like if you took a Nick Sparks film and threw away all the stuff that happens at the beginning, it just kept all the Alan Alda talking about back when it was the 50s and, things were going on. It seems like if you took like just the flashback parts of a Nick Sparks film and kept only that. Which that film, I felt terrible because it seems like, again, like, it's a very, like, impactful film. Like, honestly, it seems like it's the film that goes with the 85 years later flash forwards in this movie.
It's basically the same, except the races are switched.
But I fucking laughed out goddamn loud during the trailer. Whenever it's like this, it's the government saying, like, you can't be married to her because you're white and she's not. And then they go and talk to a lawyer who's Nick Kroll.
Again, people are allowed to not be the characters that they play.
I know, but...
Were you afraid he was Fabrice? Were you like, oh my god, it's freaking Bobby Bottle Service, and he's never allowed to not be Bobby Bottle Service?
No, not anything like...
You got a text.
Not anything like that, but it's just... The way he was... Like, the very, like... direct way that he was talking. And like they put him behind the biggest desk that was ever carved out of like a solid redwood tree. That it made him look super small, but then he's talking with like this. It's like, okay, and then what would you like to have happen? I'm like, it seemed like it was the middle of a bit. And then like later he's like stops. I'm like, so is there anything you'd like me to tell the Supreme Court? It's like, that was weird. It's like, I don't know. It seemed off. Like kudos for him trying to get like into like, you know, some more like dramatic roles and stuff. But I don't know. It felt off. It's like, it'd be like no, well, because like it'd be like if it panned over in like what would you have done like this very serious period piece looking movie, and then it pans over and it's like The Rock sitting there like that wouldn't have seemed off to you.
I'm okay with that. Look, it was probably really confusing the first time that Robin Williams was in a drama, but you know, he came into his own on those.
I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying.
Did we have any more, or was that the last one?
Yeah, we've got Bad Moms, which I think we can both agree looks terrible.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
It's Mila Kunis, like, momming it up, except she's not doing a very good job, because there's so much that's being expected of her as a modern mom lady. And she's like, you know what, there is no middle ground. It's either this, or shots of whiskey and making out with women in my living room.
Yeah, this movie looked like it's pretty much going to be awful. Well, I mean, halfway through it says, like, from the people who brought you The Hangover, so there's that. Also, the fact that Mila Kunis doesn't look like she's aged at all since she was on, like, that 70s show. So it seems weird when they're like, and here's, like, her, like, 15-year-old and 13-year-old. It's like, she still looks like she's in, like, her early 30s.
Yeah, I have no idea how old she is.
I have no clue. Like, she could be, like, 47 for all the fuck I know. But I don't know.
Like, they show her, like, there's a scene where they show her in, like, a mom bra, and the other moms are, like, making fun of her and, like, poking it with a hanger, but she's, like, stacked and built, and her tits are still, like, up here, so it's a little unbelievable.
Like, yeah, that's the body that has, like, 2 kids that are probably going to be going through driver's ed. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. Like I say, like, yeah, like, she's just, like, some age that's probably older than we think. But she doesn't look it at all, so it just seems odd that, like, she's like this exasperated mom, but then, like, the other moms there are all, I mean, aside from the ones that she, like, pals up with, all the other moms look like they're at least 20 years older than her.
Well, there was Christina Applegate, who definitely seems mom-aged. There was that lady who was in Parks and Rec as Bobby Newport's agent.
I can't remember.
Oh. Well, anyway, she's in this too. I can't remember her name. She's very funny. Bobby Newport.
But no, like, it just, I don't know, it seemed like, yes, this is the next logical step for the people who made The Hangover. I really don't look forward to when it's just year after year of, like, Bad Moms 3, Vegas or Bust.
Does the B in Bust have, like, little nipples on it?
It does.
I figured maybe it did.
It's got a bra on it on the,
No, the bra, there's, like, an arm pulling the bra off and, like, flinging it. Like, wee, what happens in Vegas?
I like to call it lost wages.
On that note, bye!
Bye. Don't go see Free State of Jones.
Go see it, it's fine.